Hello everyone, a warm good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to our webinar. Today we are going to discuss about TDS under section 194Q and TCS under section 206C1H. Generally TDS have different categories with threshold limit, but today in this webinar we will specifically discuss about deducting of TDS under 194Q and collecting of TCS under 206C1H. Myself Kuntal Das Gupta. Let's start the session. Before looking on the configuration part in BUSY, let's have a clear idea about this 194Q and 206C1H. Meaning of TDS. Now, meaning of TDS under section 194Q means this rule defines that if you are buying a product or a goods which which value exceed 50 lakh, whether it may be in the single transaction, whether it may be in the multiple transactions, means if you have done multiple transaction, multiple purchase, and at the end of last purchase you found that it is exceeding the limit. On that case, on the last transaction where the limit is crossing, in that scenario TDS will be deducted on that purchase transaction. It doesn't matter whether purchase of good is or the way of capital expenditure. Meaning of TCS under section 206C1H. Now, organization whose turnover is above 10 crore is eligible to collect the TCS when he received more than 50 lakh. Means if he received a amount from the customer more than 50 lakh, maybe in the single receipt or maybe in the collective receipt entry, or maybe in the if the company sells the product to the customer where the value exceeds 50 lakh, on that scenario you can collect your TCS on the receive entry also as well as in the sales entry also. Concept. Now first have to clear the concept about 194Q and 206C1H. Now 194Q says that TDS should be deducted on the purchase of goods and in the payment of payment to the vendor with a percentage of 0.1%. And 206C1H under 206C1H TCS rule says that it will be 0.1%. TCS should be collected 0.1% on the sales transaction or in the receipt transactions. Eligibility. Now your organization is eligible if your organization exceeded 10 crore turnover. Then you have to think about deducting of TDS and collecting of TCS under section 194Q and 206C1H, and also filing the TDS and TCS return. Applicable, as I said, that purchase of goods which exceed 50 lakh, no matter it's maybe in the single transaction. If for example you have done a purchase entry of 10 lakh first, and then a purchase entry of 5 lakh, and then purchase entry of 35 lakh. In this scenario, if the 35 lakh, when you are going for the purchase entry of 35 lakh, it will count from the previous transaction. If it found that it exceed, in that case, that last purchase or the current purchase will be eligible for deducting of TDS. Similarly, in case of TCS also. So it doesn't matter that single transaction should be above 50 lakh. It may be with the counting of multiple transactions also. And implementation part. Now, implementation part in BUSY, we have provided the options called administration, configuration. Under configuration, we will find a option features and options. Under features and options, you will find TDS and TCS configuration. Now you go on that configuration button, you will find detailed information. If you want to put your responsible person's detail, your company TAN detail or PAN detail, and responsible person means who in your organization is responsible to collect the TDS or collect the TCS or the deducting the TDS. And accounts basically, in the busy account master we create our party. So in party we have to need to enable TDS if we want to make that party deducted for the purpose of TDS, or make that party uh, eligible for collecting of TCS. In that scenario we have to enable that TDS or TCS in the party master also. Transaction, as you go for the transaction, if the transaction exceeds 50 lakh, then it will ask for deducting TDS or collecting TCS. And the last is the reporting part. So both TDS and TCS has different report. We'll check practically in busy. uh, Let me view the sample screenshot of the configuration part first. TDS and TCS. Now you can see the highlighted box that I said that you have to go to administration. Under administration, you have to go to configuration. Under configuration, you have to go to features and options. Then under features and option, you have to go to TDS and TCS button. Here, when you click the TDS and TCS button, this detail box will open. You can enable your TDS and as well as your TCS also. And in the bottom, you can found that there is a highlighted box where we are showing that TDS in purchase under section 194(q), it is kept as warning only. Means as under section 194(q) defined that whenever the purchase transaction stress limit exceed above 50 lakh, in that scenario it should provide a warning that this purchase is eligible for collecting of deducting of TDS. Same thing you can do in the case of payment also, as it now kept as no action right now in the screen. And simultaneously in case of TCS, you can found that a warning for TCS in sales under section 206C18, it's one kept warning only. Means if your sales exceeded the above 50 lakh transactions limit, then it will pop off a warning alarm that you should collect your TCS in this sales transaction. Next account, as I say that the party who will be from whom we will be going to deduct TDS or going to collect TCS. So we have to enable that TDS or TCS portion on the party master also. Transaction part, here you can see that it's a sample screenshot. Here you can see a purchase entry has been done with a single transaction having exceeded of 50 lakh. Now it's asking that your net purchase is 13440, means 1 crore 34 lakh 40,000. Then you have exceeded your limit, it is above 50 lakh, then you have to you can apply to deduct your TDS in this purchase. After applying this, saving the transaction, a reference box will get applicable, and you have to enable the TDS applicable reference box. Then automatically the reference number will capture from the voucher number, and the TDS amount will also capture automatically. Now TDS 194(q) report provide different variants of report like Form 26(q) and annexure. Now Form 26(q) and annexure display what kind of transaction? It displays the payment of TDS. Means whenever you deduct your TDS, you have to pay the TDS to your government. So when you are going for the payment for the first quarter or for the second quarter, in such scenario, that kind of transaction will affect on Form 26(q) as well as in the annexure. Next, TDS deduction. TDS deduction detail define the entire information on which transaction, who, whether party name, what was the party name, what was the transaction number, what was the TDS amount that has been deducted. It will display the entire information of deduction. Audit report, it will define that if your transaction, what was the transaction value, and is it crossed or not, and what TDS amount has been collected. And payment eligibility for TDS, here it is a kind of report which will help you to visualize or help you to capture that kind of transaction where you doesn't charge any TDS. Means if you're going for a payment entry and that payment entry is already exceeding 50 lakh, but you doesn't charge the TDS or doesn't deduct the TDS and do the payment, in that scenario, that kind of transaction will reflect on the payment eligible for TDS. Purchase eligible for TDS. Now, as like payment, there is a portion on purchase also. So if any purchase omit from the deduction of TDS, that kind of transaction will reflect on the purchase eligible for TDS. Now TCS 2060-1H also provide different variants of report like Form 27 EQ. This report define the payment detail of TCS. Whenever you collect your TCS and go for the payment to the government with the TCS ledger, that kind of transaction will reflect on the Form 27 EQ and annexure. TCS collection report will provide the entire information of collection detail of the particular transactions, and receive eligible for TCS. That kind of transaction will affect on this report, where that kind of report will affect on this, where if you have not applied or collected TCS while receiving from the customer. Same thing as I have discussed in the TDS portion also. So in TDS it was for the payment purpose, and in for TCS it was for the receipt purpose. So if receipt entry is eligible but you have not collected TCS on that receipt entry, then it is then that kind of report will reflect on this receive eligible for TCS. Now reconcile accounts and TCS. This report reflect if suppose you have done a purchase entry and your TCS has collected automatically, or your calculation has been done automatically and it's proper calculation, but in the reference box of TCS you have manually changed the TCS amount. So this kind of modification, if you have done in any kind of transaction, that kind of transaction will be checked through reconcile accounts and TCS also. Now we'll check practically in busy. Let me share you the busy screen also. Now you can see that for first of all you have to enable the TDS and the TCS. Let me first clear you the configuration portion of TDS, and then we will show you the configuration portion in TCS. So for the case of TDS, we have to go to administration, configuration, features and options, and then TDS/TCS. Let me first enable TDS reporting, and if you have any information you can put your details, TDS circle number. If your company is a domestic company, you can define responsible person detail. If your company is responsible person who will be deducting the TDS, if you want to set that responsible person's detail, you can set over here also. Now company's address, premises, these are all required while in case of TDS return. So you can fill it up from here also. And the main thing we will discuss is the warning for TDS in purchase. Let me highlight this option. You can see that warning for TDS in purchase under section 194. It is kept as no action. Make it warning only. And in the payment, I also kept it warning only. So I want both warning option for deducting of TDS in case of purchase if it exceeds the limit, and in case of payment also. Let's say I save this option. Now you can create different TDS categories from here also. By default, there are many categories that has been created. These are the all categories. Next, let me do a sample purchase entry first. I'm going for a purchase entry on 1st April. Selecting this imported as a party, as a vendor. Now I'm putting 45 lakh over here. Now, if I click apply tax, now you can see that 45 lakh is the transactions value. Along with that, CGST amount and SGST amount has also added. So it is now it means that it is exceeding the 50 lakh limit. Let's say I reduce this one. Let's say I take it 10 lakh. Now you can find that TDS is not deducting because it is not exceeding. Let me make it non-deducted in this transaction. Let me save this option. Save this transaction. Now I go for the second transaction that I'm going to do on 1st May. Now if I put like say 40 lakh, if I click apply tax, here you can find that it is calculating from the previous purchase. In this purchase, it has been found that it is going to exceed the limit as per 194Q. Then you can deduct your TDS on the current transaction. Now you can find that a reference box has been arises. Your reference number is the voucher number that has been automatically filled up. TDS amount is also filled up automatically. And if you want to change the reference number, you can change it. Let me save this transaction. Now, first I show you the TDS ledger. It is on the display account book ledger, account wise. You can find that TDS ledger also get affected. Now, if you go for the payment of TDS, let's say you have collected your TDS and you are going for the deducted your TDS and you are going for the payment of TDS to the government. So in that scenario, you can go to payment, add. You can select Busy Infotech. You can you can select TDS. Let me I'm going for the payment on 36. As I've done a TDS reference on May, I'm going for the payment on 6. It's 4480. Now it's coming TDS category. I have to select this cross payment and purchase. Now it is asking for the payment for the first quarter or second quarter. Let's say I select first quarter, and it's asking is for the domestic company or for other than the domestic company. I said all for the all-based company. Now here is an option called exclude current month entry. If any kind of TDS reference has been generated in the transaction which is belong to June month, means on June, if any kind of reference has been generated, it will not select or it will not include in this payment if you press yes. But as I have done the entry in May, so I am going for the payment on June. That's why it's allowing me to adjust the reference number. Let's say I make it, I change the date, I make it 35. Now if I save this option, if I exclude this option, so you can see that it is not making me to process further with the selection of this. In case of if you have excluded this option, it will not select automatically. The reference number will not select automatically. Now if you press yes, then you can find that it will not adjust automatically. The reference number will be not get selected automatically. So let's say if you make it no, it will get selected. Means if you want to make the payment on the same month on which month you have generated your TDS, you can continue on that process also. So for that, you have to provide your challan number, check number, bank detail, bank BSR code, and press the OK button. Now, as I say that TDS can be deducted in purchase and as well as in the payment also. Let me show you the pop-up option in the payment entry also. Is it asking for deducting of TDS in the payment entry also if it limit exceeded? Let's say I do a sample entry with the busy imported. Let's say make it 51 lakh. Now, if I save this, it is showing me the message that this transaction is eligible for deducting of TDS. So you can apply. If you apply, it will automatically set your ledger and the amount also. Now let's have a look on the TDS report. It will be on the display TDS report. Now you can find that form 26Q. Let me show you the form 26Q. It will show you the entry that the payment entry that I've done to the government, the TTS payment entry. It will reflect the, that kind of transaction in this, as well as in the annexure also. It will reflect the similar transaction. TDS deduction detail. Now here you can find what are the transaction where you have deducted your TDS. It will reflect that kind of transaction. It's payment amount or its purchase value and what amount has been deducted in that transaction. And audit report. If you go for the audit report, here if you include the under section 194Q rule kind of transaction, then you have to enable this. If you disable this, let me show you, no transaction will reflect in TDS audit report. So in that scenario, if you're going for the deducting of TDS under section 194Q and you want to see that effect on TDS audit report also, so you have to include under section 194Q also. Let me provide the detail. Here you can find amount that and May month, that May month, as I've done an entry in the May month also. So in the May month it has not been crossed. So crossed, it's showing no, because but TDS has been deducted because it is counting from the previous purchase. So TDS is deducted on the extra amount that has been that is overcome, that is exceeding that 50 lakh. Now payment eligible for TDS. It's basically show. Let me do a sample entry, then can be clear. Let me do a sample entry on May with the party present important. Let me provide this, and this transaction is eligible for TDS, but I omit this. This kind of transaction can be captured from here. Payment eligible for TDS. So you can find that eligible payment amount is also showing. It's 1 lakh because 50 lakh was the limit and 1 lakh exceeded. So TDS deduction should be on the 1 lakh, means 100 rupees. Next, purchase eligible for TDS. Similarly, if you doesn't if you doesn't charge the TDS on the purchase, that transaction is eligible, but you doesn't charge, then that kind of transaction will reflect in the purchase eligible for transaction, eligible for TDS. Now, if you go for the TDS return, or if you go for the print of 26Q annexure, you have to go to print email SMS. You have to select TDS report. Here you can find form 26Q. Let me show you the preview of. It will reflect the first quarter entry payment. Here you can find that this is this sample format. You can find that it's showing the deduction of TDS and reflecting in the report. Form number 26Q, and if you go for form number 26Q annexure, then you can get the annexure also. Let me show you the annexure format also. So this is the annexure format. This is the annexure format you will be getting from Busy Software. And if you want to generate a TXT format for TDS return, then you have to click this eTDS return. From here, you can generate this TDS return file in a TXT mode. So this is all about TDS under section 194Q, its rule. Now we'll check TCS under section 206C 1H. Let me disable this option, enable this option, and let me highlight this option 206. So you can find that 206C1H. It has been showing. If you want to set a warning in the sale, you can also set a warning in the sale also. And if you want to set a warning in the receipt, so you can set a warning in the receipt also. In case of TDS, it was a process on the purchase and payment, and in case of TCS, it is a process for the sales and receipt. Simultaneously, like TDS, you can put your TCS responsible person detail, your company's detail, which will reflect on your return form. Now for TCS, let me do a sample sales entry. Let me do a entry on 1st April. I select Busy Infotech. I select item. I press provide quantity 1. Now if I select 51 lakh, if I apply tax, you can find that TCS will also get reflect in your bills entry because it has exceed the limit. This transaction has exceed the limit. In same case, TCS, it doesn't mean that a single transaction will exceed. If first transaction value was 10 lakh, second transaction value was 30 lakh. In this way, if in the last transaction sale entry, if it found if the system found that the total calculation of each and every transaction exceed the limit of TCS, then in the last transaction, whether it may be under 50 lakh, maybe the transaction is under 50 lakh, but still on that transaction, it will face the TCS collection amount. So let me save this option. In this case, you can also found the TCS applicable reference detail 206C and 1H. Collection code is 1H. So you can find that whenever you press the enter, it will automatically face the entire information on this report. Now you press the OK button. Now, if you want to, first I show you the ledger of TCS. It's on display, account books ledger, account wise, standard, one account, TCS. So ledger amount will also get reflected. Let me change the date. So you can found that ledger is also get reflected. Now if this is in the sales sample, if anybody want to collect TCS in the receipt mode, means if the receipt is eligible, but you want to collect from the receipt mode also, that receipt transaction is eligible. In that scenario, if you go for the receipt entry purpose also, so if you select busy imported, let's say I provide 51 lakh. If I save this option, here is also asking. So here is also asking that this transaction is also eligible for TCS, but this doesn't mean that single receipt should exceed 50 above 50 lakh. As I said that it will count from the starting transaction. If the last transaction is said that it exceeding 50 lakh, if in the last receipt it is showing it is exceeding the 50 lakh limit, then in such scenario the last transaction will also get eligible for TCS. Now if now if I omit this option, let's say I omit this option, I doesn't collect the TCS in the receipt entry. Now what will happen? Let me show you this kind of transactions effect in the report. For that kind of transaction, you can check the report from display, TCS report, reconcile account, receipt eligible for TCS. Here you can find that it was this entry was eligible. This receipt entry was eligible for TCS, but you have not collected TCS in this receipt entry, so it will reflect on this report. Now I show you another scenario. Let's say I modify that previous sales entry. I change this TCS amount manually. Let's say I change this amount to 5,000. So showing that your TCS amount is not proper. You have make it 5,000, but it actually is 5,712. So make it yes. So this kind of transaction can be captured, that if anybody has done this kind of thing, that can be captured from this reconciliation accounts and TCS in the sales or sales return. Here you can found that actual TCS amount is 5,712. It was the actual TCS amount, but in reference box it has been provided 5,000. So difference is 712. So you can see that. Let me zoom this transaction once again. You can see that it's 5,000. So actual 5,712. So this is the kind of transaction that will reflect on that report. Let's say I make it actual now. Now, as like TDS, you have collected TCS, so you have to pay this TCS amount to government also. So in that scenario, you have to go for the payment. Now, if you select the TCS ledger, it's showing the current balance. It's 5,712. If you're going for the 5,712 payment, you save this option, this section will come and the reference of that TCS transaction will reflect here. It will ask you to adjust the reference and do the payment entry. So if you are going for the payment of first quarter, you can select the first quarter. If you're going to select the reference for the all or domestic company other than the domestic company, in that case you can select the domestic company or for the all category based company. Now exclude current month entry means, exclude means, let's say you have collected TCS in May month and you are doing the payment entry in May month also. So if you want to exclude the May month reference from the payment box or from the adjustment reference box, or you want to exclude that, in that scenario you have to press enable Y. So it will not reflect automatically over here, as I have done the entry in April. So I'm going for the entry or going for the payment on May. So it's showing that you can proceed, or it is asking me to or allowing me to proceed. Let's say I check the date also. It was 1st April. Let's say I go for the payment on April month, then it will be clear more. It's 5712. Now if you save this option, you can find that if I select first quarter, if I exclude this Y, see the selection get automatically erased. If you press no, then it will get selected automatically. So this is the kind of scenario. If anybody is going to pay the TCS on the same month in which month TCS has been collected, in that scenario, this kind of features will reflect. So if I press no, then it will allow me to continue on the same month. Let's say put a sample challan number, check detail, bank name, bank PSR code, press the OK button. Now we have done a payment of TCS. If you want to see the ledger wave off, let me show you the ledger wave off also. Now you can see that ledger has been also adjusted and closing balance is 0. Now let me show you the reports of TCS. For that report, you have to go to display, TCS report, form 27 EQ. It will reflect the payment entry of TCS that has been done to from the payment that has been done to the government. If I select this form 27 EQ, for the first quarter, I will found the entry that I have done. Next, in the annexure, I can get the annexure also. I can get the annexure detail also. TCS collection detail will provide the entire information of that transaction, on which transaction the TCS has been collected, and what is the TCS, what was the tax deposited, and through which challan number. Entire information will reflect in the TCS detail, when it was deposited or when it was payment to government. So entire information will reflect in this TCS detail. Receipt eligible for TCS. As I said that if any receipt is eligible and you doesn't collect the TCS on the recipient, then it will reflect on here on this report. As I've already shown that this entry is about 51 lakh, which is exceeding 50 lakh. So 1 lakh is the eligible amount on which TCS will be collected. So TCS has been collected of 100 rupees because TCS rate is 0.10. So reconciliation among account and TCS, as I've shown from the sales, and from here you can get the detail of if any modification and done in the reference of TCS in the transaction, what is the variance between the actual TCS amount and the amount that you have mentioned in the reference box. Now for the purpose of return, or for the purpose of print of annexure, in that scenario you have to go to print email SMS. Here TCS reports, here you can get the detail TCS return. So here you can find that we are providing form 27 EQ TXT form. Means you can generate a TCS return in a TXT format, and you can upload in the government portal. So this is all about TCS and TCS in basic, and I hope I have cleared all the information in a proper way. Now have a look on the common question that mostly arises in our mind regarding TDS and TCS. So let take up that questions. Now, the first question that arises in our mind, shall TCS or TDS shall be deducted or collected on any kind of sales, including sales of services? So answer is no. As per section 194Q and 2061H, TDS and TCS shall be deducted and collected on the sales of goods. TDS 194Q applicable on which transaction? It's on the purchase of goods. TCS 2061H applicable on which transaction? On the receipt of consideration on the sales of good. So TCS is applicable on the receipt of consideration or on the sales of good. What is the rate of TDS and TCS? Both TDS and TCS is 0.10% under section 194Q and 2061H if it exceeds the limit of above 50 lakh. Whether TDS plus TCS is to be deducted and collected on the total invoice value, including the GST. TDS and TCS is to be deducted plus collected on taxable amount only. So these are the that was a common question. Further, while using these features, if you get any doubts or if you want any kind of support, you can contact our expert. We are providing a simple help desk number. It's the 5 time 8282828282. And thank you all for joining this webinar. Have a safe, happy, and a nice day. Thank you to all of us.